Well, but we stated that it was him, so that's what we need to.
We'll call the Delaware County Commissioner meeting to order. It's Monday, July 17th, 2023. Time is 9:03. Let's open the meeting with the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ed. Could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry.
Here.
Mr. King.
Here.
Mr. Reagan.
Present.
Mr. Brook.
Here.
Ms. Smith.
Here.
Okay, we'll move to appointments. We made 3 appointments to the Civic Center Board last meeting. One was incorrect on one of our forms, so we need to.
I'll make a motion that we remove Brian Smith and add Scott Alexander.
Second.
So
Smith was the mayor's appointment.
Correct.
That he's already been appointed by the mayor, so.
roll call, please.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Mr. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes. Okay, we have the approval of the minutes for the commissioner meeting, July 3rd, 2023.
So
Motion
moved.
to approve.
Second.
I have a motion to approve in a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Mr. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes. Next, we have presentations to commissioners and University Health, Employer Solutions.
Good morning. My name is Melissa Cash. I'm the Vice President for our Retail Health and Employer Solutions portfolio with Indiana University Health. And so we are here today to talk about the Employer Clinic. So you guys have had your Employer Clinic in place for quite some time, and we have some new enhancements coming to the city and to the county employees, but also to the community. So we're here to announce too that we are bringing in urgent care to Muncie, which will help partner with the Employer Clinic to provide more access to care and to a new location. So your current location is located just right near the hospital. The new location will be at the Imaging Center. It's down on White River in Tillotson. If you're familiar with that corner, the Imaging Center is the large building that sits on the back of the parking lot. Open door is to the left. And within that facility, there's an already renovated space that's very similar to the current clinic. It'll combine the urgent care platform for the community with your guys' employer clinic that you use for dependents, employees, and spouses. So wanted to talk about new enhancement of services that'll come with this location and clinic, sort of timing, and new model in regards to billing to make it a better administrative ease, but also to help decrease some of the cost that's brought with the new space. And so IU Health, we offer employer solutions clinics across the state for multiple employers. We've redesigned how we've provided this care in combination with the urgent cares to provide more access to care on weekends, holidays, and after hours to hopefully help decrease any low acuity ED visits that are occurring for your employers, dependents, and spouses. Let's see if I can get this to work. So currently, we have our the full service option. It will still offer your same services. So if you guys are utilizing the clinic or you've used it in the past, we offer primary and acute care. So Dr. Hoban is your guys' primary care physician. He will still be in the clinic and will move to the new space. Used it in the past. We offer primary and acute care. Okay, perfect. So still the same model of care. And so how it works is you have a new location, which is great. It's a brand new renovated location. The current location needs some renovation. It's an older clinic. And so this will give us an uplift of furniture, the space. The parking lot is easily accessible by the patients who use the facility. You still have your primary care hours that are set via appointment, so you can still go online, set your appointments for primary care, maintenance, chronic maintenance and medication, physicals, child physicals, all the things that you guys still utilize for the space. In-person and virtual visits, we do have offered through COVID virtual visits, so if somebody, it's appropriate, they can still be at home and access the provider via a virtual app on their phone. The enhancements we'll talk about, but one of them is x-rays. So in our imaging center and in our urgent cares, you guys have access now to x-rays. Currently, the practice is if you come in and see one of the providers in the clinic and you need an x-ray, you would have to then go to an x-ray center that would then bill to the plan or the patient's out of pocket. With this new model, you'll have access under your plan to be able to get that x-ray if it's warranted and ordered by the provider. And then in the urgent care, we do offer some higher acuity level of services, laceration repairs, and diagnostic tests. So more of a one-stop shop where you're going to help diminish those ED visits for those low acuity needs, like a laceration repair that could be repaired on site instead of the ED. Another thing is currently the clinic sees ages 2 years and up. With now partnering with the urgent care, we see 3 months and up. So 3 months to 2 years old, if you have an ear infection, croup, RSV, fever, all of those things, we'll now be able to take care of those younger kids within the clinic. We would still obviously, well, babies, they need to see their pediatrician, but at least for those acute illness needs, we'll be able to take care of them in the facility. The care provided's listed there. So like I said, same services, management of chronic disease, preventative medicine, hypertension, diabetes, obesity, smoking cessation, all those services will still be provided. And then we also will talk a little bit about a robust occupational health offering. You use the clinic for some of this, but in the new urgent care, we have built under Tara Stroop, who's the director of Occ Health for IU Health. We've built a larger, robust occupational health platform that's available. A lot of companies may use Concentra within the area. This is now be a second option to use. We do occupational health out of all of our urgent cares across the state, so we can talk about that a little bit as well. And then we do still offer the wellness platform. So you'll have a full-time health coach that'll be available via virtual platform. And then we can facilitate biometric screens if that's the choice of the employer. So the program comparison, just to give you a little insight of what you currently have and then what will be the new program offering, is listed on this slide. We've talked about some of these already. So being able to see your younger kids at 3 months and up. We still will offer the management, chronic disease, preventative medicine, your illness and injury care. Mail order prescriptions will still be available. So if you utilize the mail order program for generic meds, huge cost savings to employers, so that'll still be in place. X-rays will now be included as part of the program fees during the primary care hours. So if you come in and see Dr. Hoven, or you come in for during that primary care hours and you need to have an X-ray, that'll be included in the cost. Occupational health will be included, integrated behavioral health and social work. You guys have this service now. A lot of people don't know about it, but we have access in our facilities, and there's a slide in here that will go more in depth to psychologists and psychiatrists and counselors for mental and behavioral health services in crisis situations. So we'll talk a little bit about that service, very beneficial to the community, but also to your employees. We also have now access to enhanced access, so we'll go through that. Enhanced access, now that the urgent care is open 80 hours a week, so our urgent cares are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and then we're open all holidays. So 365 days a year access to the community and then to the employees, dependents, and spouses. After hours, so primary care runs 8 to 5. After that 5 o'clock time frame, Monday through Friday, and on weekends and holidays when the clinic would normally be closed, you can use the urgent care for a $150 visit for your acute needs. So instead of on those holidays where you wake up, something happens, you cut your finger cooking, your holiday meal, you're going to go to the emergency department. That's now an option that you could go to the urgent care instead of having that $3,000 ED visit. You as the county could then offer this service as a paid employee-sponsored program, or we could market it as a new employee or urgent care as a reduced cost to go to the plan. And then we still offer virtual. So IU Health has a very large, robust virtual platform. So this is just another opportunity to help reduce any ED cost that would travel to your employees and plan as an employee-sponsored program. I went through those 2 slides pretty quick. Any questions so far before we keep going on?
Well, one thing that I like is that if they're on vacation or out of the county and there's an urgent need, they can go to that location.
Yes.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. So the program costs, this is just for Delaware County. You can see it's changing. Right now, we do a standard pass-through of all expenses. So the lease space, all those things are a standard pass-through to each of the entities. We're changing the model to make it more administratively appropriate for the program. The lease and everything will now sit with IU Health. So right now, the lease of the building that we're currently in is transferred back into the expenses. IU Health will, since it's partnering with the urgent care, that won't be an expense that'll cascade through anymore. So it's a $40 per member per month model. That includes all the services within that primary care model. Mail order is at a pass-through cost, where right now it's at an upcharge cost. So it'll be a straight pass-through. If your mail order medication is $25, it's $25 that goes back to the employer to pay for that program. And then you have another access as we have primary care. As we continue to grow this platform, you could have access to that at other urgent cares. So if you live in Noblesville and you would rather have your primary care at Noblesville, you as the employee-sponsored program could use that Noblesville primary care instead of using the one up here in Muncie. So that is an offering too within the program as we continue to grow to new sites. You guys would have that availability or option underneath the $40 per member to use the other locations as well. The enhanced access, like I said, if you choose as the employer to allow to have the after 5 o'clock access to urgent care and on weekends and holidays, it would be a flat rate fee of $150 per visit. That's for any visit. So if they have an x-ray, they're getting a boot and a brace for their foot, that would be the cost that could go back to the employer. Or if you choose not to add this option, then we would just bill it to the employee's plan, insurance plan. And then occupational health, we do have across the state, all of our employee or our urgent care centers do DOT certification for medical exams, breath, alcohol, drug screen, workers' compensation, injury care, and illness, and follow-up. And so we have a very large, robust occupational health service offering that we can now offer to you guys through the urgent care through all 80 hours. So on the weekend, if you have, people out there working and they need to come into a facility for a drug screen, we would be able to accommodate now that at a fee for service rate that we could provide to you. We do fire department physicals for the city, and so those are things that we'll still offer as well. So we can have more conversations if you are interested in enhancing your occupational health within the urgent care above what you already do. We also do audio and spirometry. So Tara is our director, and she can definitely answer any of those questions on occupational health. You can see your cost analysis. So your 2022 cost, there's your estimated annual cost, and that decreased to the model to the $40 per member per month. Questions? Oh, went the wrong way. Okay, this slide just covers some additional. This is not included. We talked about the occupational health. We do this across the state. We have employers that travel the full state, so it becomes very beneficial for employees that go from Fort Wayne to Bloomington. They can access any of our facilities and get the care that they need. We do workers' compensation care, DOT physicals, pre-employment testing, audio and spirometry will be located inside the Muncie clinic. So if that's something, if you do hearing conservation or things of that nature, we would be able to provide that service to your employees that would need it. And so we're happy to discuss what the services looks like if you have more questions. The integrated care. And so our current model is we have a iPad kiosk that's available in all of our urgent cares and our employer clinic. You guys currently have this in place. Behavioral health is a national issue right now. I'm sure you guys hear about it within your workforce, maybe within the family of your workforce members. Within these facilities, we offer crisis intervention, but also support for long term. Not all providers are very well educated and versed in how to handle a crisis situation, suicidal ideation, things of that nature. And so within our facilities, an employee or even a dependent or spouse and a community member, now that we're adding it to the urgent care, they can come into the urgent care, get assessed, and we can partner them right then and there in a virtual platform with a psychologist. So with somebody who is very well educated on how to handle and manage these patients. It works really well. We have it in all of our sites across the state. we're able to help keep those patients who don't need an ED level of care out of the ED and get them the care they need right then and there, and then get them follow-up care. So this helps our providers too. Like I said, our providers are not the most educated when it comes to medications that are needed for, situations in the state. Our psychologists that we have located across the state in this virtual capacity really help keep the patient, get them to where they need to be, get them back home, and then they have follow-up that's available. It's been very beneficial. We've had across the state multiple people who have used it for suicidal ideation. We were able to stabilize the patient, get them calmed down, get them the resources that they need, and they didn't have to go to the ED and sort of wait through that pattern. So it's been very successful. This will be available. Currently, it's available now in your clinics, and we're happy to come and talk to your employers too about this service. It is a confidential HIPAA service, so this is not something that you guys would be made aware of if it's utilized, especially if it's not related to anything work, but it becomes a big benefit just to keep your employees in that sane mind as they're dealing with personal issues and other things.
Can children be treated as well?
Yeah, so I think, is it 5 and up?
Five
So they
and
just
up?
expanded it, to 5 and up, which is great.
Yeah, that is great.
Yeah, good news.
We talked about the enhanced access urgent care. Again, just like the primary care, for example, if you have a child that goes to Bloomington, goes to IU, this is an opportunity that that child who is on the plan or has access to through your plan benefits, they could use the urgent care in Bloomington for that low visit cost instead of going to the ED. I always use the example of IU because their ED visits are so high in that college population. And we do have an urgent care plus one that'll open in January. So we have 2 facilities down in Bloomington that are on each side of the town, so very easily accessible.
That does bring up because around here we have a lot of Purdue with 4-H fair going on this week. But did I understand Lafayette is not covered?
Lafayette is not currently covered. We do have 2 locations in Lafayette, and they're under a different business unit, but we're working through adding them to the portfolio.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and we'll keep you guys, we have new locations opening for urgent care across the state. And as we add new locations, we make you aware because those could become new access points for
thank
your.
Yeah. A lot of good news.
Occupational health, and Tara, I know I'm up here, but please jump in if you have questions. So we do offer multiple access to occupational health with the urgent care. Benefits you, but will also benefit other employers within the community. And so Tara partners with other employers to come in and help utilize this service. And so there's very limited resources for occupational health within Muncie and the Delaware County area. And so we will be bringing this service to other employees to utilize too within the urgent care. But definitely could be a benefit as we continue to look to enhance services for you as cost savings, sort of keep it as a one-stop shop. It keeps the medical records separate. So your primary care is separate from your workers' compensation. That's always sometimes a concern when you have both resources. This would also be different providers. So I know sometimes that's a concern, but your primary care provider is your primary care, and then you have another provider who focuses on that urgent care, acute, and occupational health. And then we talked about, but here's sort of the integrated behavioral health. One thing we didn't talk about was the integrated social work. And so along with the virtual psychologists and psychiatrists, we also have virtual social workers. So for people who come in and they can't pay their utility bill, or they're dealing with abuse, or there's something that, they need from a social work standpoint, we also provide this access to a social worker who's a case manager to help them find resources to do what they need to do. So if an employee is struggling with something, they don't know where to go, we do have these available resources as we assess patients and they come in, we ask them some standard questions. And if we find that there's a social determinants of health issue, we can then partner them with resources to get what they need. And this is embedded within the urgent care, so it's also available to the community members. And then this is just your enhanced access. So the $150, so this is after primary care hours, weekends, and holidays. All of these things can be taken care of via the urgent care. Again, it could be the employee or employer-sponsored program at $150. A fraction of the cost of the ED visits, that's cascading to the plan. So really good benefit, but again, it's something that as an employer, you could add to your program, and it's a fee for service, so only charged when used. And this is just an overview of all the locations, so the map's probably hard to see up here. But we have locations from Fort Wayne all the way down to Bloomington and continuing to add more. I think that is it. That was quick. I want to make sure my team that I covered everything.
I think you did a nice job. And Pam, if we were to vote on this today, when would it take effect?
Good question. Yeah, thank you. I missed that. So we are currently, right now, this space is occupied by IU Health Orthopedics. They have built a new facility, and so they're moving out in August. Our plan and go live for this clinic is the 1st of December. So we would move into this space and move the employer clinic with that grand opening. I believe the date's by December 10th. We would have this clinic open.
Thank you.
I'd be more in favor of us paying $150 for the employees also, that, to go in there after hours.
So if an employee goes in, do they pay the $150 then if they're injured at work, that's gonna be a workers' comp claim? If they go in after hours, they'll be charged the $150, right?
Yes, so if it's non-work related and they go in after 5, you could have the option to do the employee-sponsored program, which would be the $150. If you opt not to, we could still market it as, hey, don't use the ED, use the urgent care, and it would go to their plan, and then it would just bill based upon the terms of their insurance plan. So you have both options. Some employers, the employee-sponsored or employer-sponsored one is a huge benefit because you know, it's no charge to them, and so they're gonna choose it before they choose the ED.
I agree with James. I think, Sherry, what do you think? I'd like to go ahead and pay that $150 for the employee.
Yeah. We could do
Can we get the clinic set up to where they come in and say they're a county employee that just automatically?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, so we have that currently in place now. Talk about the specifics, but yes, they said they present an insurance card. It shows that they're on the plan, and then it bills back to the employer.
Okay.
Do you mean emergency department?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we need a motion to approve this?
Yes, you would.
I'll make a motion.
Well, you're making a motion to approve the
The,
$150 for the, right, because I think the clinic is already moving and that's part of the,
I'll make the motion that we pay the $150 per employee.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Yeah, nice job.
That's gonna be a benefit for our employees.
Yep.
All right, next we'll go to, contracts, agreements for approval, addendum to the high-tech crimes unit memorandum of agreement. Mr. Hoffman?
Good morning, Eric Hoffman, Delaware County Prosecutor. As you know, a couple of years ago, the Indiana General Assembly allocated or passed a statute to allocate some funds to create 10 high-tech crime lab units throughout the state in prosecutors' offices. We applied and were awarded the funds to operate or open a high-tech crime unit. The funding from the state, I think, was 200 and something thousand a year to be administered by the Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Council. And in the statute, it said that the Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Council, or IPAC, can retain up to 5% for administrative expenses. Well, this year they've decided to return that money back to the counties or the 10 high-tech crime units. And that's an amount of $30,000. So we need to amend the high-tech crime unit memorandum of agreement to incorporate this additional $30,000. The bottom line is it's free $30,000 from the state.
doesn't happen very often, so.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion to approve the addendum in a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Ms. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Hoffman.
Thank you. Yep. What do you want me to do with the addendum?
I'll send it to you,
You have it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
and I'll send it to you, yep.
Thank you. Have a
Your
good
rent
day.
just went up, Eric, and for the building in here, 30 grand. Your rent just went up for the.
It's just,
It's only 29,000.
Yeah,
it's only one page.
Yes.
Next, we have a service agreement for the county email encryption. Mr. Fluke?
Morning, Commissioners. What I've presented to you is an agreement for a email encryption service. It's been requested that we get that available to a number of offices that need it. This package, we looked at 2 or 3 packages, and this package was the most flexible that we could present, that you could send email encryption to anybody and not be limited to who you're sending it back and forth with. So that was a plus that we felt that to help manage it. The installation is pretty quick. Once we get this signed, we'll get it set up and on the offices that we need to encrypt the emails. At this point in time, right now, we've got 10 licenses that we've purchased, and those departments or the offices that need to have the encryption, and we can start adding those on and increase that count as we go up. This particular service is used by a number of large agencies across the country, and so it's pretty viable way to do the encryption. And I'm sure that some of you have probably got a email encrypted message in the past, and where it asks you to go and get a code and go back and put that code into their message, and it opens up the text so you could read it. So it's pretty simple to use, and I think it's, compared to the other ones that we've looked at, it's probably the best one that we can probably provide.
contractor.
And keep in mind, this was a request by our insurance company.
Yeah.
It's, so each license is $85 a year, correct?
Correct.
So a total of $850 for a year.
Just reading this, the date says it expires on July 22nd, 23.
I talked to the company, told them I couldn't get to the
Meeting before the
meeting until the 17th, so we're still good.
But I mean, why wouldn't it say 24?
I think this is just a quote for him to give to us, is what it was.
Right,
It's
Oh.
gonna
it's
expire.
not the agreement itself. I mean, it is, you're gonna sign it, it's just makes this agreement, available and open
Okay.
until the 22nd.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the agreement. A second, roll call, please.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jim.
Next, we have, ABC subdivision plat. John?
Yes, this is the, Dollar General plat there at 300, West and State Road 67. This is one that you refused to sign back in 2020. We went to the trial court and been to Court of Appeals a couple times, Indiana Supreme Court. The Indiana Supreme Court, or the Court of Appeals actually ruled that you had an obligation to sign this because the way the ordinance reads, and I would suggest that we take a look at revising the ordinance in the Plan Commission, so that gives you discretion as opposed to mandatory. And the Supreme Court wouldn't take the appeal, so we're stuck with having to sign the plat.
So, the Dollar General store. will
Well,
probably-
this was the objection that the neighbors had because it went through the plat and actually didn't go through the Plan Commission itself
Yeah,
because the way the ordinance reads, and so the neighbors really didn't have any input into this. And, the commissioners took up the argument and wouldn't approve it because of how tight I mean, one of these people are within just a few feet of where the Dollar General store is gonna be, their house. And we delayed the project, or you delayed the project for over 3 years. And Dollar General's still intent on putting a location there. And I think that that part needs to be looked at in the Plan Commission ordinance as well, because the local people didn't have any say-so over it.
So do we need a motion to approve?
Need a motion to approve, and then Sarah's got the plat for you to sign after the meeting's over.
Yeah, I'll
Like
make a
you do with
motion,
Kathy Vanis and
Yeah,
her plats.
I'll make a motion to approve the subdivision plat.
second.
Do we even need to vote on this? I mean, the court's ordering us to do it.
Well, you should vote on it just to satisfy the court, yes.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Ms. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Well, I guess I gotta say yes, since the court's saying I have to, so,
You don't have
yes.
You don't have to, I mean, you already have 2 votes that say yes, so.
I'm gonna vote no on that.
That's
Okay.
fine.
I'm gonna pass next time.
Okay. John, if I get thrown in jail for that, you'll have to.
You don't look as good in orange as those two, that's why you're
Yeah,
not wearing
yeah,
orange.
yeah. Next, we have the addendum to the Delaware County Mental Health Contract.
This is for the mental health facility. The original contract had the mental health facility as a part of the Justice Center in what used to be the swimming pool area. It's now been determined with your mental health services provider that it should be moved to a separate standalone facility on the same campus, but distinct from the Justice Center. And so the cost of design and building has gone up because of other considerations such as grading and drainage and all that sort of stuff. So this is an addendum when you move the mental health facility to the standalone facility. It's still within your art budget.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion to approve the addendum for the Mental Health and Rehabilitation Center in a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Ms. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes. All right, next we had Delaware County Fair insurance issue. Sarah?
Yeah, Dan sent me this, and it's just a general liability insurance for the fair. There's like a $2,000 difference this year, but need it for the fair this year.
The fair's had some claims, so that's had the cost increase.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion to approve the general liability insurance proposal in a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Ms. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes. Any department heads or elected officials?
Well, I'd like to promote coming up, not only is the fair going well and, the 4-H, I think today's hog day, but, Wednesday is the auction at 2:00. And if you've never been to the 4-H fair auction, you might enjoy it. It starts at 2:00 Wednesday. And then also we have the Gaston Fair starting August the 2nd to the 5th. So we always want to promote any kind of fair that promotes children and helps the community. So you get to go out and have some corn on the cob and cotton
Fair
candy,
food,
and
yep.
all that good stuff
Good,
for us.
everything good for you.
Yeah.
Any other department heads or elected officials?
Sherry, I'll echo that. I used to like to go to the auction, but since it starts at 2:00 now, I can't really
Well,
get out there.
that's the chickens and the rabbits.
Well, I still like to go to those because those kids need support just like
That's
the
right.
people that,
But-
like my kids did with, pigs.
But 2:00 is, yeah, you
Yep.
can go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Steve?
Morning, Commissioner, Steve Foster, Building Superintendent. Hey, just a couple of things. One, I've talked to Jim, after we go to the council meeting, I need to see about getting a new computer for out at the Justice Center for our carrier system. That one, whenever we have a power flick or whatever, they have to reboot it. Talked to Sherry the other day on the heating and cooling. That process is still going on. you guys have any questions. I know she had it and I got it. That's just an ongoing thing until we get all the money and then
Now,
the
we
computer.
need to look at that timeline, because
Yeah.
how much and how much longer, and,
Her concern was the computer upgrade, and like I said, that will be the last thing we do, because once we get all the controllers in, so it could be 3 weeks, could be 2 years, whatever, however long it takes
Yeah.
us to get to that point with the money. And then the last thing is I've been getting called, have we have any further on the roof out there?
well, we need to get that pinpointed down.
I did get a thing back from the gentleman that originally estimated that, and he said he thinks he can pull that in for about 275. His bid, obviously, we have to get a few more.
John, I think you were working on that
RFP?
RFP, weren't you?
Yes. Well, we actually have to go to a bid since it's over 150,000.
Yeah, and that's the shingle part
Mhm.
you're talking about?
Right.
Yeah,
When you think that'll be available, John?
Well, I should probably have it this week.
Okay.
okay.
I want to run it by Steve to make sure that I've got all the bases covered.
Okay.
And you know, there's a computer in our office out there that we don't use. I think Jim could pull that one out. Okay. Okay.
I'm ready. That's all I have.
Thanks, Steve. Anyone else? We have the, payment claims of $1,167,591.36. The payment of ARP claims, $132,291.73.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion to pay the claims and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Reagan?
Yes.
Mr. Henry?
Yes. Down to the public, Mr. Yentzer.
Rick Yentzer, author, newsman. Couple things come to mind. As far as the roads, when we were out driving around the county, I noticed a couple more new paving projects there on 500 North on either side of Wheeling. After commissioners mentioned they did some work on Black Cemetery and up on Wheeling. I would hope that you continue to pave roads because a lot of roads are in bad shape. I see other government like Yorktown that finally paved Nebo, portions of Nebo, and 500 West took care of some of the most heavily traveled roads. You know, I know state crossroads money is still available, and I would encourage government to keep getting that money, even though you've got money with that old county wheel tax that a lot of people still complain about, because back then it was supposed to be temporary, and years later it's still here and still generates millions off of car registrations. I'd also want to mention too, I noted that, you know, as we get more foreign companies in Indiana and here in the community, government needs to encourage local labor and local suppliers. Here in the city, I haven't seen a lot of that with all these housing projects going on, and I would hope that government would continue to recognize that when they come to a community, they need to be part of that community and also hire local labor and buy from local suppliers. Thank you.
Thanks. Tony, how many miles of road have we paved this year?
I'm not exactly sure, Shane, I'm gonna say over 6 miles.
So we've paved over 6 miles, and the crews are out chipping and sealing, today. So they're,
Yeah, we only get so much money, Shannon, you know, for like 6.5 miles, it's $1 million.
yeah,
You know, a lot of people call in, they don't understand why we can't pave this road and pave that road. They also don't understand what maintenance is, which the maintenance is chip and seal, but it's to preserve the roads and keep them in good shape until we can make the rounds back to get to them. And we go off the rating system. There's a rating system for this that Troy's real familiar with and works on. And we're getting the roads that are the worst roads right now that we're gonna lose. But like I said, a lot of the public thinks the maintenance program is unnecessary and it's a cheap way out. It's the only way we can do it to keep these roads in shape until we get more money. But,
You're doing a good job.
well, it's Troy. Troy's doing a great job on the roads and everything like that, and
Let that crew know.
I sure will. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, does anyone have anything else?
Make a motion to recess.
Second.
We have a motion to recess and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. King? Yes. Ms. Reagan?
Yes,
Mr. Henry?
Yes,
Okay, who motioned to accept
Recess.
claims?
I did.